Oh, okay. Um, I'm just gonna just kind of go and ramble for a sec, but I I don't even know where to begin with this. Really, I don't. You know, it's I don't know, man. I guess I'm just really disappointed that yeah, I'm disappointed in you know their let's I just want to speak as plainly as bluntly as I can, so I'm gonna attempt to do that as best as I can. I'm just kind of disappointed that Piccolo is piss yellow now, right? And I don't know. It seems like every time I make a video about Dragon Ball for the last 6 7 years, I'm bitching, which it's my right to. And if you don't like it, then just I don't know, don't watch my video anymore or unsubscribe. But I don't know, man. It just it's so strange, like on so many different multiple levels, right? Right, like obviously I'll sing the praises of OG Dragon Ball as much as I can, right? But with all this new material coming out, it's really just made me realize that there are different eras of Dragon Ball, and as I've gotten older, and because of the work that I deal with, which I'm a consultant, I'm a BA, and I've worked in many different industries. I've worked in the healthcare industry. I've worked in the lab. I've worked in the music industry, and I've worked in the federal sector too. So I've worked in like a like I've had the same title, but I've worked in many different fields. And the reason I'm talking about work is because in those fields, whenever I went to work, it's made me look at entertainment, whether not just Dragon Ball, but anything, like whether it's a show, whether it's a video game. It's made me look at it beyond the perspective of a fan. And what I mean by that is, okay, you get a game or you watch a show, you like this, you dislike this character, you like this scene, or you dislike this piece of music, whatever it is, right? But it's really about liking and disliking things, right? What work has made me realize is that, or has made me, view things differently is, yes, that fan perspective is still there for me. I just go into things and I enjoy it or I don't enjoy it. But the other thing is the financial and the marketing aspect of a product. It's made me realize the economic impact can work its way into the story of of a game or a movie or whatever it is. And again, I'm just like ranting. There's no I don't have any sort of like structure to this video. I'm just going off the top of my head, but I don't know, man. It's just really disappointing that this era of Dragon Ball that started with Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods, that movie in 2013. It's just disappointing that um, everything that fans, and again, I'm 28 years old, right? I'm 28 years old. I watched DBZ on Toonami in the States, like most of other people. I played the video games and all these things. I've seen Super Saiyan 5 on Google Images. I've seen Super Saiyan 10. I've seen Zycor and Dragon Ball AF. I know like the whole 9 yards about everything, right? So at least about Dragon Ball in those days, for the most part. Um, but I don't know, man. I guess it's just really disappointing that, and I've said this before, that deviant art and Google fanfic images have become the norm, and have become the norm in this modern era of Dragon Ball, and or I guess I should just say Dragon Ball Super, and on top of all that, it's the excitement by people. It was really that's the thing that shocked me the most. It was the excitement by people. I saw people like getting excited that Piccolo was like piss yellow now and has like a lighter purple gi, and he lost I think like the lines in it, like in the lines in his green Namekian skin. And then I saw these tweets and I saw these comments about man, this is hype, like, oh my god, I'm so happy, like, yo, like, this is sick. And I'm just sitting here like, I, like, what happened, right? Like, I'm people are free to enjoy what they want. right? People are free to enjoy what they want. But that being said, I also think it's it's perfectly fine for people to have an opinion about anything in the world, and that includes the opinions of others. And just to see people praise these color edits in Dragon Ball Super over and over again is really just disheartening and disappointing for I don't know, I don't even know if I want to call myself an old school fan. It's not even like I'm a particularly old fan. I don't, at least I don't think I'm an old fan. I'm not even 30 yet, but it's just very disheartening and disappointing to see people just get hype over color swaps over and over again. And maybe these people, like I said, and this is why I was talking about eras and products and that sort of thing, and like the economic point of view. It's just as maybe these people are like 19. Maybe these people are age like 19 years old, 20 years old, 21 years old, 22, maybe even 23 or 24, right? Maybe not that far off from how old I am, but it just makes me think about the like who's Dragon Ball Super is made for. And I really think Dragon Ball Super is not made for old fans like us. It tries to be inclusive. I think like even on the official Dragon Ball Japanese account, which I don't follow, it just happens to be on my timeline because of, recommended tweets and all that. They were copying One Piece, the One Piece Twitter, where One Piece, what they were doing is, I'm talking about the one, if you guys don't know what One Piece is another anime and manga. One Piece was doing this thing where like I think every like 3,000 followers or something like that, they would post a tweet with the new character, and then it was kind of like this push that One Piece was doing, like the more followers we get, we'll post a new character, like a picture of a new character at this milestone, and then Dragon Ball started to copy them. I don't know however many months ago, and Dragon Ball was showing like manga panels, right? But I wonder in 2022 how many people who are younger than me, or even 19 or 17, 18 years old, are gonna read the Dragon Ball manga, right? Not many. At least I don't think so. I mean, there is obviously this is like a digital age. You can go and just buy it if you want, but I don't really think I don't really think that people who are in college right now, right, and a good amount of people who are in college right now are going to go out of their way to buy the entire 42 volume set, or even just buy a volume set of, forget the original Dragon Ball manga, let's just say OG Dragon Ball, forget like the Dragon Ball Z part. How many people do you think are in high school right now, or middle school, or in college, right? And they can be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, however old they are, right? And let's just say like they're aged young, and they're going on Amazon, or they're going on site, and they don't have to be in America. They can be in the UK or Brazil, South American country, in Japan, all these things, any country, right? And they're going on Amazon or eBay or somewhere, and then they're going out of their way to buy the manga and read it. I don't really think that's the case, right? I don't think that's happening, and I don't. Well, I don't want to say it's happening. Not at all. I'm not going to say that, but I don't think it's happening at a rate which justifies Dragon Ball Super marketing, or trying to market itself to. I'm not saying that it is marketing, but even thinking about or making that attempt to market itself to quote unquote older fans like me, or people who are like 30 years old, 35 years old, 40 or 45 years old, who started out with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z back in 1984 or even 1990, or forget the 90s. Even people who grew up with Dragon Ball and Tsunami in the United States, like I did, who first got exposed to it via the English version, and because there's a certain, this is gonna, I don't want to sound elitist or anything like that, but the experience of Dragon Ball is different for people who started out with DBZ on Toonami back in 2003 than it was for people who started out with DBZ Kai. And I'm speaking like from the perspective, I guess, from the perspective of an American fan. It's different for people who started out with DBZ and Toonami in 1999, and even before that with the Ocean and the Harmony Gold dubs too, right? That's a whole other thing, but I guess we can throw it in here. But it's different, right? If you started out with DBZ back then as opposed to DBZ Kai in 2009, 2010 on Nicktoons or via Blu-ray or whatever, the journey as a fan, or the understanding and the vibe of the franchise is very different, right? And vibes and feelings that can be developed through, different means, in terms of the voice acting, in terms of the music, in terms of the mood and the atmosphere of a scene, those sort of creative criteria that directors and authors and artists and all these different sort of creative positions and people in these positions try to make. And but the journey is very different, because after DBZ ended in '03 and then GT came on Toonami, and then the OG Dragon Ball I think was airing after it, and I think those ended in '06, '07, maybe even '08 at some point. Dragon Ball's life cycle, or the lifeblood, the fandom was really carried by video games. And being carried by video games for like 10 plus years or 8 plus years, you have like this understanding of Dragon Ball that is extremely strong, and it's very in line with the Japanese community, where the manga ended in 1995, right? So the removal, or the period in which new Dragon Ball material wasn't really being released that frequently, was a lot longer for Japanese fans than it was for American fans, or Western fans, I should say, right? Because I would, even UK fans had that, and I would probably even South American fans, and anyway. But what I'm trying to say is like well, actually, I don't even know when the Spanish dubs and finished or and whatnot. But anyway, but point is, what I'm trying to make is like, if you're a little older, like your experience with Dragon Ball, if you started out back then, is different than how it is right now, because. And again, I'm just trying to make younger people understand, like, all these, like, Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue and this Piss Yellow Piccolo and all these things, right? These were fan fiction ideas that were rife in the fandom, right? We could go on Google Images or DeviantArt, and I'm just throwing out, just random websites out there, and you could literally type in, like, purple hair Broly Goku fusion or something like that, and it would show up. Actually, just the other day, my PS3, right? So I bought a new PS3, right? I started playing my PS3 pretty like regularly around 2011 or 2012, like when I first went to college, right? Maybe the year after that, 2013. And I just and maybe a couple years later I got Xenoverse 1, and I think I played Yakuza 5 in 2016, and that was basically the end of me playing PS3. And I just bought a new one because I'm gonna go through some of the PS3 like HD collections again, like the Zone of the Enders collection, the Ratchet and Clank collection, the Jack and Daxter collection. So that's why I'm actually playing it right now. So I bought a new one for that. But what I'm trying to make is that that old PS3 that doesn't work anymore, I was going through it because I was trying to fix it, and I was just trying to like system restore and make it work, right? And when I was looking at the media and like stuff that I wanted to like perhaps save, there was an entire folder of Dragon Ball Z pictures, and I made a tweet about it. I made a tweet about it somewhere. At least I think I did. But in this folder were like pink-haired Super Saiyan Trunks, right? Think Super Saiyan Trunks in Dragon Ball Z Movie 8, the first Broly movie, and at the end of the Androids arc when he goes back in time and kills Cell. Actually, no, a little before that, when he kills Future 17 and 18, and he's just rocking like the black tank top. There's a picture in there of that Trunks just like that, Super Saiyan hair and everything, but instead of colored yellow, it was pink. There was a picture in there of a blue-haired like Gogeta and Vegito, and it was like they still had the same, slightly different hairstyles, but the color was there, right? There were pictures in there of like a red Frieza. There were pictures in there of like just like fan edits, right? And that's basically what the creative, or like what fan fiction and like the what ifs of Dragon Ball were like back then. And I've said it numerous times, like in any Dragon Ball Super video that you watch about me, that Dragon Ball Super is basically fan fiction in official form. And fan fiction is just, if it happens continuously, it's just not good storytelling. It's not good storytelling because one, well, that's basically the thing, it's expected. And this is kind of going into, I might be going like on like a whole bunch of different, points and angles here, but that Dragon Ball Super, like I've said it over and over again, and I'm just saying it here for like the millionth time, but it just really sucks in my opinion, because when you have color swaps over and over again, it's just uncreative. And yes, I know the story of Toriyama and his assistant not blacking in Goku's hair, and that's how Super Saiyan was born. But you want to know what the difference between that particular scenario is and what I'm describing here with Super Saiyan God even though I like the look of Super Saiyan God, and I actually even like the look of Ultra Instinct, the Omen sign, but the problem with Ultra Ego, even though I think actually that looks kind of decent too, but the problem with Super Saiyan Blue in particular, and this piss color yellow, and even Golden Frieza, right? The problem with that is that even though that was just a color change, Super Saiyan actually had like a hairstyle change, and that's one thing. There was an actual legitimate hairstyle change, and a pretty stark one at that too, like a pretty distinct, like you can tell like how the hair is different, vastly different. And then the second point is that was just a one-time thing. Toriyama's writing style, his creation style, I don't want to just say his writing style because he draws too. He's a very minimalist drawing style. That's the kind of he's a minimalist. And what I mean by that is he draws simple is kind of like his game. He tries to draw as simply as he can. And you can see that a lot, like, not necessarily in the Dragon Ball Z manga because there is detail. I think there is, whether it's cell spots, whether it's the scales in Tambourine, whether it's the scales in Bouillon, whether it's that one cover chapter with Cell and the cross hatching, whether it's the shading on Captain Ginyu in that one cover chapter, I forget, I'm talking about the manga here. There is extreme detail that he goes through, whether it's the lines on Frieza, whether it's the lines on Piccolo that he just removed in this new form. Well, I don't know if it's him, whether it's Toei or not, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but they're simple for the most part is like his thing, right? So it's not so much, and even like the Super Saiyan advanced stages that we get in the Androids arc, not particularly like too like different, right? But even though they're not particularly too different from a regular Super Saiyan, like I'm talking about like Vegeta and Super Vegeta, right? It's just bigger muscles and like virtually the same hairstyle with more lines in it. Okay, fine. Look at Vegeta and Super Saiyan Vegeta, base form Vegeta, Super Saiyan Vegeta. Look at Gotenks and Super Saiyan Gotenks. Just a color change. Okay, that's fine, right? But the point is, like, with those Super Saiyan transformations, those are one-time instances. That was just a one-time instance. And because of him doing what he did with Goku and Vegeta, he had to do the same thing with Gohan in the Buu arc, base form Gohan and Super Saiyan form Gohan virtually look, pretty similar. Ultimate Gohan, right? Virtually look similar. So it's not the same. It's not necessarily the fact that, it's just a simple color swap. It's the fact that it's a color swap and it's done repeatedly, and it's become expected. Like before Ultra Ego Vegeta came out, everyone was kind of expecting like, when is the purple hair form gonna come out, right? And when you go to how Toriyama wanted to write Dragon Ball, and you read some of his interviews, which you can read on Kanzenshu, and he talks about like his writing style, he always wanted to write unexpectedly, right? If you go back to the part where if you go to an interview, I wish I could find it or remember what it was, but in one interview he said the reason he made Goku lose the 21st and the 22nd World Tournaments, the Budokai Tenkaichis, is because it was to go against the reader's expectations, right? And that's kind of what Dragon Ball's like the writing style is kind of based around. It's based around the unexpected, right? Like the Buu arc. I'm talking about the Prime Dragon Ball here, right? Like no one expected Krillin to die. No one expected Goku to transform into a gold-haired warrior. No one expected, Gohan to be the one to actually kill. So I mean, the foreshadowing was kind of in your face. Like when you look back on it now, the fact that Goku took Gohan to train with him and Gohan came out as Super Saiyan, and the fact that Goku said like, who is the next fighter who's going to fight him, like it should have been obvious to a lot of people that it's going to be Gohan, but we were just too young that we couldn't, we didn't know enough about creative writing and all that to like see that, right? But the fact that Goku died at the end, like there were a lot of like unexpected plot twists that were happening in Dragon Ball. And the reason why I'm bringing up like this abuse of the color swap and this unexpected plotline thing that I'm talking about here is because Dragon Suit DBS has just kind of gone against it. It's not fulfilled that. It's gone against those principles, and that's why I shit on it so much, right? That's why I shit on it so much. And for every simple transformation that we have, like the Super Saiyan transformation, or from Kid Buu, when you look at Buff Buu and Super Buu, when you look at just transformations like that, you have complex transformations too, like Frieza's transformations, like or something that is distinct and different, like the Uzaru. You have complex designs like the spots on Cell's skin. You have the scales on Tambourine and the time that it took for him to draw all that. The scales that it took for him to draw on, I don't know, Bouillon. The scales that it took, the wrinkles and all the little like age creases that he had to draw on someone like King Piccolo or even Master Roshi, Kami Sennin, you know. And it's just kind of like it's funny how people always like they stick to like this simple, like, Toriyama's always about simplicity and normalcy, but it's kind of like you look at Dragon Ball and you look at like all the other characters, there's a good balance of like complexity and simplicity. It's not like it's all round characters or it's all sharp characters, right? And it just seems like DBS is just like leaning towards too much in that one direction, which again is why I don't like the piss color Piccolo. It's just, first, the color doesn't look good, and it's it's the abuse of the color swap again, and it's just another case of Toriyama going simple instead of wanting to be more complex, like how he did with having a little more detail in the character. I like simplicity. I'm not saying I don't like it. I love Korin. I like round characters like Fat Boo and Scratch, the cat that's on Bulma's dad's shoulder. I like those characters, even though they're simple. I even like freaking, even though I don't like Jiren as a character, Jiren, like, his design in of itself is still okay, right? I like the eyes that he drew for Jiren is certainly, I don't think he's ever drawn those type of eyes before, not just in Dragon Ball. I can't even remember the time he drew it in Dr. Slump or Dragon Quest, right? So, but you want to mix it up, and it just seems like he hasn't mixed it up here, and it's just, Piccolo is Piccolo now, man. It just doesn't look good, and they're calling it Potential Awakened, like Ultimate Gohan, and he has like an ultimate like state now, and I just want to know, like, if he was going to be this strong. I mean, of course he's trained since then, but like, let's keep it a buck. Power scaling in DBS doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, any sort of like stretching argument that people make, like, oh, he was holding back here, or Roshi's dodging Jiren's, but I didn't pay much attention to it. I didn't even want to pay much attention to it just because it was so ridiculous, right? But it's just kind of like, if this is how strong he is when he gets his potential awakened now, then why didn't he do this earlier, right? And I'm a fan of Piccolo, don't get me wrong. Piccolo is my third favorite character, and I've always said that Piccolo, out of any character in the series, probably has the most controversial power-ups, like him fusing with Nail to fight second form Frieza. And again, I'm not a stickler for power levels or anything like that, right? I'm not. Believe it or not, I'm not. But there is a power structure, if you will. There is some semblance of this character is stronger than this character, and that's how it's going to be, that is going to be followed, right? There was a great tweet that I saw, and I remember, I think it was the Devil's Corpse TDC, and I don't know if it's a he or a she, or I say it. I don't know if he or she, I don't know if it's a he or, I'm just going to say it, apologies, if it's a he or a she, but they were arguing with Josie Kame, and Josie Kame was kind of like talking about like power scaling, and TDC responded like saying like, see, at the end of the Boo arc, Krillin is not going to defeat Boo. Krillin and Yamcha are not going to be able to defeat Boo, because that's just the way Dragon Ball Z is a series. If I go to Yu Yu Hakusho, I'm not going to have freaking Suzaku going to be able to beat Yomi at the end of Yu Yu Hakusho. In One Piece, I'm not going to have Usopp beat Kaido, right? Like, as where we are right now. That's just the way that things have been set up. That's just the way that power scaling and training and the rules of strength in Dragon Ball work, right? So that being said, I've always felt that Piccolo has the most controversial power-ups in Dragon Ball. Fusing, and now, of course he's trained, but fusing with Piccolo, or fusing with Nail, to fight second form Frieza, who has a power level over 1 million, is a little, crazy, right? Fusing with Kami to become the Nameless Namekian when Kami isn't even that much of a fighter anymore. Lost all the way back in the 23rd World Tournament. And again, Piccolo has been training. He's been training with a Super Saiyan Goku in the 3 years since, so it makes a little more sense there. But the power-ups, and to make him, to put him on the level of Android 17 is, it's a little it's a little crazy, right? It's a little far. Now, I don't want to say it's far fetched to believe, but there is some disbelief there, right? So I've always been a big believer that Piccolo's power ups are just very huge, and I think this right here is another case of that. Now, again, who knows? He might be training with Broly or Beerus or Goku, Vegeta, maybe even Gohan. I doubt Gohan's been training, right? Because Gohan, I'm sure there's going to be some plot point in the movie, which I'm not going to watch, but there's going to be some plot point in the movie. Gohan hasn't been training. He's at a conference or he's, attending some sort of academic curricula or, some college lecture or something. I'm sure there's going to be some plot point like that. And, he hasn't been training for a while and then he goes and says, I don't, whatever, right? But it's just very disappointing to me that people get so like hyped over these things and they fail to see like why or how, like they claim to be fans of DBZ and they say like I love DBZ, right? And they're only liking this because it is Dragon Ball, right? They're only liking this because it is Dragon Ball, and I honestly think like it's just the fact that it is Dragon Ball. They don't care about like the characters being treated respectfully. They don't care about a consistent story, and not and even saying like a consistent story is not necessarily end all be all, right? But it just seems like they're liking things for the sake of liking things because the name Dragon Ball is attached to the product. Like if the next movie of Dragon Ball and would if they do make one, right? Let's say Yamcha gets to fight and Yamcha gets some okay, let's say there's some weapon out there in Universe 3 that no one has ever been able to pull out, right? And Goku can't pull it out, and Vegeta can't pull it out, Beerus can't pull it out, Broly can't pull it out, right? But then Yamcha, when he sees his new girlfriend get bitch slapped by one of the new villains, he's able to go to that weapon, pull it out, and now all of a sudden he's stronger than fucking Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, right? If that plot point happened in the new movie, I guarantee you people would be okay. I guarantee, like I'm not bullshitting here. I guarantee you if that happened, like if he pulled out like the Z sword, like some Super Z sword, like let's say like the Super Z sword is out there, right? The Super Z sword is out there in Universe 3, and Yamcha he's going to go there and he's going to pull it out because, his wife or his new girlfriend got bitch slapped by the new villain, and he gets it out and he actually causes like some major damage to the villain. People are going to like that. They're going to be all right with it despite it not making any sense within the story, despite it completely not fitting in within the pre-established rules of Dragon Ball. And the only reason they like it is because Yamcha finally gets to do something. And that's basically the only reason people are liking this piss color Piccolo that we're getting here. It's just because Piccolo has been out of the game. He hasn't really done much, right? People were so hyped Piccolo was going to fight in the Tournament of Power, and then he gets fucking, thrown out by some little guy, right? Just imagine, like, watching Piccolo versus Frieza, Piccolo versus Android 17, Piccolo versus Broly even, right? Seeing all, like, these fights with that sort of mood and that sort of intensity and this sort of music and this sort of whatever, right? Animation, whatever. And then you go to the Tournament of Power, right, which does have stronger characters. You watch Piccolo sacrifice in Dragon Ball GT. You watch all these dramatic moments in Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT, even Dragon Ball, and then you go to Dragon Ball Super and you see Piccolo eliminated because his opponent was like this small. Island destroying blasts, the ability to take millions upon millions of hits of damage. And he gets ringed out because he just got hit by like this small 1 centimeter fighter. And it's just for the giggles and laughs, like ha 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 ha. But then this is a serious story. Like we're supposed to take Jiren and Super Saiyan, Blue Goku serious, or Ultra Instinct Goku seriously. But with these fights with Krillin and Tien and Piccolo, ha ha ha, Roshi, these are just not very dramatic or serious fights. These are just funny, ha ha ha. And now the only reason people are liking this is because Piccolo just has some shine, and they'll take whatever they can get. I guarantee you, like if one of the power-ups in this movie was Piccolo growing a dick and he got stronger, if he can. People say like that whole hermaphrodite shit that comes out in Kanzenshi, right? But I guarantee you, people would fans somehow would find a way to like Piccolo. Okay, let's not go like the whole dick route, but let's say Piccolo got like a gun. Right, let's say he gets a gun like let's say Piccolo gets a gun like the one soldier that fought Trunks not fought Trunks, but he faced Trunks at the beginning of the Androids arc when Trunks first appeared, and then he said like, hey, he only has a power level of 5, right? And all, and you know what I'm talking about, that soldier, right? Let's say Piccolo gets a gun like that, and that gun puts him on the level of Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, right? I guarantee you people would be okay with that. People would be like, yeah, let's go, Piccolo, yeah, woo, we got this gun. Just because Piccolo has Spotlight. That's the only reason. And that just goes to the point of like why my problem with DB fans nowadays. Like, sure, let people like what they want to like, as I was saying at the beginning of the video, right? But you need to have proper and organic reasons for why characters are put in the spotlight, and like why they are as powerful, or why they are as relevant to the story as they are. Look at One Piece for a second right now, right? Not many people like the scabbards, right? Or some people don't like the scabbards, right? I personally like the scabbards. I think and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, okay. In One Piece right now, there's an arc, right, that is taking place on an island called Wano, and the scabbards, right? What's a scabbard? It's like the sheath of a sword, right? The scabbards are a term for 9 characters, right? 9 characters that are central to the history of Wano, if you will, right? And they are central because they have some beef with the main, or well, one of 2 main villains, I should say. Well, they're 2 main villains in the bigger picture, but of this arc, it's just one main villain, which is Kaido, right? So they have a lot of history with him, and they killed Odin, who is the name of their lord was Odin, and he was killed by this villain, named Kaido. And the scabbards, for the most part, haven't really been enjoyed by some people really haven't enjoyed the scabbards, right? It's like half and half, okay? But even though that's the case, they have been spotlighted a lot, and their role in the story of Wano makes sense because of that history that has been built up, right? There is a concrete, tangible reason for why they are being spotlighted and why they get stronger, or why they're able to deal like this amount of damage on this character, right? And you can understand and see that, right? Here with Piccolo, you don't get that. You really see that with Piccolo when he's in the story, that Piccolo just came back just for the sake, like he's front and center in this movie just because they wanted to do something different, right? It doesn't fit organically into the story, right? Like, why didn't they have Piccolo help in, like, why didn't Piccolo have a bigger role in Broly aside from just, teaching them, or not teaching them, like having them do the fusion dance, right? Which is funny, by the way, because Goku was the one who taught Piccolo that, right? What? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, right? There's specific roles and ways to like highlight a character, and giving him like a piss color yellow color swap that's been abused to death in Dragon Ball Super, that's something straight out of a fanfic like DeviantArt website from 2008 or 2013 or something like that, and then introducing this new power up now when it just completely messes with the lore. Like, why didn't he have it before? Like, why didn't he have it in Broly, or why didn't he get it for the Tournament of Power when their whole universe was at stake, right? These sorts of things. Those are the sorts of questions you need to be asking, like story and lore consistency. And then people just don't care about that. They don't care about that. All they care about is the name Dragon Ball is plastered to the product, and this character is getting shine, and that's enough for me. I don't give a fuck about lore. I don't give a fuck about story consistency, because let's be honest, Toriyama, Toei, Toyotaro, the staff don't give a fuck about it. And the idea that you can just write whatever you want and not pay respect to the characters is just really disheartening. It's just it really reminds me of I honestly feel like this movie is just being made for the same reasons as like Marvel movies, right? Like Marvel is, I don't know if you guys are like follow like the film industry or whatnot, but there's kind of like this comment that Scorsese made, I think in 2019, where he was like, Marvel is like, he doesn't really consider it real cinema, because basically the gist, if you can like see, like if you can understand like the situation where he's coming from, he's just basically saying like movies are being made for the sake of money now, rather than for the sake of like something that is purely you're trying to tell from a storytelling standpoint. Like, it's not like with Marvel now we're gonna get like phase 5 just for the sake of money, where we don't really even need a phase 5, right? We may not even really need a phase four, right? Like look at the like even though I didn't watch the new Spider-Man movie with No Way Home, right? I didn't watch it, but the fact that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland, who are all the actors of Spider-Man, were all together in one movie. Like that was a big selling point of the movie. That was like a huge point. Like that was why people would want to go see the movie. It was marketing. It was like fan fiction, right? And I actually think that's a case where like fan fiction is actually like it works. I think it actually works. I think it fits like the aesthetic and the vibe of the movie. I think there's a good story reason for it, and I just think I think it works for that story, right? But what Marty was trying to say, what Scorsese was trying to say, was that these stories aren't made organically, right? You don't. It's not like you have like an idea in your head and the idea doesn't come across with the purpose of there. It doesn't come across with the idea of trying to be like we're trying to create a new universe and we're trying to make more money off or it's trying to imply like another story is coming, right? And that being said, you certainly have like self-contained movies like in the film industry or in Hollywood now. Like you have, Parasite is even though it's not Hollywood, it's like it's a self-contained movie, right? But even that's getting like some sort of like new HBO like sequel or something like that, right? But look at what was that one Willem Dafoe movie where he's like the owner of a motel, like Florida Project or something like that. Look at The Lighthouse, right? Look at Robert Eggers' new movie with the Vikings, right? Those are all self-contained movies, right? But you even look at something like the Batman now, like Batman's name, it just has like this huge star power, and the only reason people are going to go watch it is because they like Batman, right? And if they have, and this is once again another reboot. How many times have we rebooted Batman? We got Batman Begins, we got Ben Affleck Batman, we got Batfleck, and now we have Robert Pattinson Batman yet again. You know what I'm saying? So it's always like the creativity has kind of like been stunted, I feel. And in Dragon Ball, especially DB, and especially in Dragon Ball, that's clearly the case. Once again, they're doing the whole Gohan versus Piccolo mentor relationship, even though you don't really need that. When you saw the Buu arc, it was like a very clear, definitive like end to Gohan needing some sort of like a teacher. He doesn't need a teacher. Goku and Vegeta don't even really need teachers for that matter either. These are like old enough characters where no one's too young to learn, but the fact that they're like students in like a dojo and like that's just not interesting to me, right? That just kind of takes away from like the allure of the character. But yeah, the fact that they're doing that, and everyone guessed that Pan was going to be in trouble and that she was going to be kidnapped, and lo and behold, that's what happens in the trailer. Though I will say, it seems like Piccolo is like sort of like fake kidnapping her, so we'll see what happens with that. People are guessing Cell is going to show up, so that's kind of once again expected. And I don't know. This video is just like it's 38 minutes of me just kind of ranting about bullshit and nothing, but it's just kind of like not really bullshit or nothing. It's just me saying the same tired arguments over and over again about DBS that I've said in streams and in other videos and on Twitter and on GameFAQs and on forums, like wherever it is. But it's just kind of like it's just really depressing and sad to see like it's still going on and that people are still supporting it, right? I just think about like communities back in the day, whether it's Kanzenshuu forums, whether it's Manga Fox, whether it's even GameFAQs of old, and I told them, right, if I went back to 2008, 2009, and I told them that Saiyan forms were now all going to be we're all going to be color swaps, right? We're going to get a multiverse because of DC and Marvel doing the same thing. And that's another thing too, right? People don't understand, like, again, this really doesn't have anything to do with Piccolo and like I'm just going to call him Piccolo, but the reason why Dragon Ball, like when we see powers, like, so I don't read the Dragon Ball manga, right? Or the Super manga, I should say, right? But I do see like panels that come across on my timeline, and maybe I'll check out like a page here or there. And currently, Granola is fighting Gas, right? Or Goku's fighting Gas, and there's these are names of characters, right? And Granola has a particular ability. He has a sniping ability, right? He has what we call a sniping ability. The problem with like something like a sniping ability or Gas having like kunai weapons or like fighting with the hammer, Dragon Ball characters are demigods, right? They're demigods. These are characters who are basically like Superman. When we were experiencing Dragon Ball, forget Dragon Ball, let's just say Superman, the Hulk, Thor. Well, let's take away Thor since he uses a hammer. But let's say, I don't know. Let's say I don't know, Sentry. Let's say Silver Surfer. Right? Like all these, and these are just superheroes. But basically, think about extremely muscular characters that can move fast, tank a lot of hits, have super strength. They're basically superhuman, right? And you think about the fights that these characters undertake. Entire planets are being destroyed. Entire galaxies are being wrought with destruction, and landscapes are being razed. They're tanking like hits that can destroy entire planets and suns and stars and asteroid belts and all these different things, right? So imagine Superman fighting another demigod character, but this demigod character is trying to throw him off by using like a knife, right? Like he's fighting him with the knife. What the hell is a knife going to do for a character that can move at the speed of light and can close the distance? You guys gotta ask yourselves this question: what is the point of a weapon, of any weapon, right? Forget superhuman abilities. Just think about any fight, right? The weapon is a deterrent. It's a dangerous deterrent. It makes your opponent wary of it, right? And whether it's a sword, whether it's a gun, whether it's a bow staff, whether it's nunchucks, whether it's a scimitar, whether it's a katana, an uchi katana, whatever it is, right? Tanfa. The purpose of these weapons are to give you, or ultimately to give you more range. The damage that you can cause to your opponent, excuse me, the range to do that is extended. And that is exactly the reason why a sniping ability is dumb as fuck, why Gas's weapon constructs are dumb as fuck, because, Gas's weapons are dumb for another reason, but these different powers, right? Like the sniping ability, or I'll just stick with these two. The weapon constructs and the sniping ability are really dumb because these don't mean anything when you think about like planets being destroyed or characters that can move at the speed of light and close the distance very quickly. They don't really mean anything. They don't do anything, right? Now, that being said, you have characters like Trunks, who fights with the sword. You have characters like Janemba, who fights with the sword. Yajirobe fought with the sword. Gohan had a sword, right? But you want to know what the difference between those characters were as opposed to Gas? They didn't expend their ki to create the weapon, right? Gas, in this case, is using his ki, wasting his ki to create these weapons, and for what? He's creating a hammer that just gives him 2 feet more of attack range when he's already a fast as fuck character, faster than sound, faster than light, whatever it is. I can close that distance in 0.00001 seconds, or however fast it is. So what the hell is the point of it? What does that do? That doesn't do anything, right? That being, I think the kunai works fine because I think the kunai works in the same. I'm talking about Gas here. Gas has when he throws like ki blast, he throws like kunai. So I think those are fine. That kunai work fine because those are no different than Frieza's finger beam or Vegeta's rapid ki attack. Or Piccolo's Hell Zone grenade, if that's what it's called. I can't even remember the names now, but those rapid ki blasts, because those are energy blasts that you are hurling at a distance, right? And you're trying to get someone who is far away from you. So the kunai, I think, works perfectly fine, but everything else, like this ki constructed hammer and this sword and this bow staff, no, you're just wasting your ki for no reason, right? And again, fighters can fight how they want to fight, like Trunks with the sword, Janemba with the sword, whoever, right? But, and everyone has a preferred fighting style, but to waste your ki on a weapon, there's no reason to do that. Just go get, just get a sword, get a finely crafted sword like the Z sword or Trunks' sword or something, or Goku's power pole, the Nyoibo, and then just fight with that. Why do you want to waste your ki? So, anyway, that discussion had nothing to do with anything, really, but because this video is really just about my disappointment that fans are hyped about Piccolo. And again, as arrogant and as stupid as that sounds for me to be like mad about like what other people think about something, it's just disheartening like when this franchise continues to do the same thing over again, and then it's people just can't see the problem with it, right? And I understand why some people wouldn't be able to empathize with me because they are not from my era of Dragon Ball. You know, Dragon Ball Super, again, Dragon Ball Super, people forget this. Dragon Ball Super was made for little kids, right? Like it's made, and it's so ironic, right? Like like the main market are 6 to 8 year olds, right? And there was some tweet that Herms put out on Twitter where he was saying like Bandai's report was out, and then they were talking about like the main market, people who are age 6 to 8 years old. But people are this is being treated as a sequel to DBZ, which came out 20 or DB/DBZ, which came out what like 20 17 years, yeah, 17 years, no, not even 27 years ago, which ended 27 years ago, 30 years ago or something like that. And now those kids back then are 40 years old now, right? I wonder like people who are like 40, 45 years old, 30, 35, what they think about DBS, or how many, like I think I know one person at least who really likes DBS or who likes it. Maybe two people, but I'm talking about like Japanese fans, people who are like super fans of Dragon Ball and can like see like the problems with the story and everything. And I want to know what Oda thinks about Dragon Ball Super. I want to know what Yoshihiro Tagashi thinks about Dragon Ball Super. I want to know what Toriyama's peers think about Dragon Ball Super. Not Dragon Ball Z. I'm talking about DBS. I want to know what the people from that era of Dragon Ball think about DBS, because I don't think it's a very favorable opinion. I don't. And it's not like if they were asked in an official capacity that they can kind of like just go outright and admit it. But I think especially Japanese people, they would just want to kind of keep quiet about it and just kind of be polite about it. But I really want to know like what their true thoughts are about DBS, because I gotta believe like it's not a very favorable opinion. I just can't. I just can't imagine that someone like Eiichiro Oda or Taite Kubo or Togashi or Urasawa or any fan of Dragon Ball from that era is happy with color swaps and yet another like the third evil Goku and an evil American fans, like we've seen a white-haired Goku form, like, well, technically Zecor is Goku's son in DBAF, but that's a white-haired form. Like we got Super Saiyan 5, we got an evil Kaioshin, we got Frieza and Broly coming back, or Frieza coming back, even though Piccolo told Majin Vegeta something different otherwise. It's just really disappointing. And yeah, anyway, it's just funny. Dragon Ball Super, I just don't really care about it no more, and I just it's not it's out of my headspace and everything, and it doesn't take any of my mental space for the most part. But then I'll see something like this, something that comes across my timeline, and the OG series being my favorite franchise ever, it just reignites like my disappointment and my heartbreak for like what Dragon Ball is right now. It's yeah, it's just sad. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. I've kept you guys here long enough, so I guess give me your thoughts.